This seller said that they tried to replace the SSD and in the process broke off the speaker connection. So let's get it opened up and see the damage that was done and see if it's fixable. This video is sponsored by BW100, more on them in a minute. And that looks like it must be the speaker connector that was broken off the board. That is not in very good condition. This should be interesting. I do remember these are really nice to take apart though. They're kind of meant to be taken apart and upgraded and whatnot, so makes it a lot more fun to own a device. After those screws are out, we just got some clips that hold this whole back shell on. And now with the back loosened, we can pull it off and see if we can find the speaker connector that's causing the problem here. So if you look right down here, there's a bunch of extra solder right here and I can see some missing pads, so this could get difficult. Anyway, down here, it looks like this is the SSD the seller was trying to replace when he messed up this speaker cable connection. So I'm gonna get this back out so we can have a closer look. So this cable should plug into another connector right on this board. Unfortunately, this board is not going to be one that is going to be cheap or easy to replace because this is the one that's got the main processor on it. The first thing I want to do is just get this whole board removed so we can have a closer look at this area and see if we can repair this. Oh boy, this does not look great. So it looks like this right here and this right here would have been the mounting pins. So we have no pins to mount the new connector to. And then these ones are probably the pins that connected to the actual power and ground and those pins. So I think the first thing we need to do though is get this cleaned off a little better so we can actually see what's going on down here. So this is not looking great. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 torn pads. Those are not too much of a problem. We can repair those, I believe. This is part of, oh, just broke a piece off. This is part of the mounting pad, which we can also sort of rebuild. Same with this one. Not necessarily the easiest thing, but we can do that without too much problem. The main problem though is if there's components that are supposed to be here, that's a problem because we don't have any of those. I don't have any parts boards to pull those from. So first thing we need to do is look up a picture and just see if there is components that are supposed to be here or if these are just empty pads. BW100 is one of the best cleaners for your personal electronic devices because it's non-flammable, it doesn't hurt any sort of plastic, it evaporates quickly, and it's non-conductive. One of the things I use BW100 for all the time, both at my repair studio and at my house, is cleaning analog sticks on controllers. Now, Joy-Cons have analog sticks that are some of the easiest to clean because there's this little rubber protective cap, and if you lift that up, you can get right down into the analog stick right there with BW100. With the little protective rubber cap lifted, I can just spray BW100 right inside the analog stick like that, and then we just move it around a whole bunch, and that will just help clean the inside of the analog stick. Now, it is important to note that if your analog stick is completely worn out on the inside, then no amount of cleaning from any product will get it clean and get it working again. It just has to be replaced. But if your analog stick is just dirty, then BW100 is a great first step to try and clean it and see if that'll get it working. If you'd like to try BW100 for yourself, I'll leave a link right in the description that'll take you right to it. And this picture from ifixit.com, I just pulled up their teardown and exploded this view right here, and you can see that these are indeed just empty pads. So we lucked out there. It looks like all the components are here. So all we have to worry about is this connector. And this is what we have. It definitely does not look good. Look at this, there's like a hole in it. I feel like this is just not gonna work. I don't think I can just reinstall this in good conscience. I think I can make it fit and probably even make it work, but with this hole right here, that just worries me for long-term usage. I'm just thinking that it's just gonna be better to not use this connector, which means we have to buy a new connector. We can get the connector, including the cable and the speakers on iFixit, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then we can, actually no, that's not gonna work. So I think what I'm gonna do is try and find another connector, like maybe on a computer motherboard or something like that, that we can use to replace this connector with, since it's just in such bad condition.
So unfortunately, I've looked around everywhere on my parts motherboards and I can't find a connector that's even close to this one. So I'm gonna have to see if I can make this one work. I think the main thing we need to try and deal with is this bulge right here. I think if we can fix this so the connector will plug in, then we can make this work. Okay, did we get it? I think we might have gotten it. Down there it looks a little sketchy still. Need to make sure that the connector can still plug into this fully. I think that just broke out. That is definitely not ideal, but I think we can still make this work. So it needs to plug in just like this. Yeah, I think I can make that work. So the next thing is all of these connections on the bottom. So this solder blob we can fix. There's a piece of circuit board just stuck to it. And then this mounting pin over here. I don't like doing repairs like this because I just don't have confidence that this type of repair is going to last for a long time. But I don't have a lot of options right now because I can't find anywhere to get this connector. Now I might be able to find it like on Mouser or DigiKey, but that sometimes takes a long time because you have to know exactly what you're getting, and I don't know what to search for to get something like this. So if you're a regular on Mouser and DigiKey and buy this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments what I would search for to find something like this. Usually what ends up happening with me is I'll go and buy something and then it ends up, something was wrong with it, with what I bought, or it wasn't, by wrong, I mean it was the wrong part. And so I have to buy something else and go back and try and find the right one. And that just ends up sometimes taking months, and I don't want to take months for this video to get out. So next I'm going to bring in my soldering iron and clean up all of these pins right here, clean up this solder bridge right here, and then also clean up this mounting pin. Then we'll see if we can prep the board and see if this will fit on still. So we've got this connector cleaned up pretty good. This piece right here I believe is the mounting pin that goes up in here, and that's what was stuck down on this pin right here. This mounting pin cleaned up pretty good. I feel like I kind of want to see if we can get this mounting pin back up in there, but at the same time I'm not even convinced that that's for sure what that is. Let's clean a little more solder off of it. Yeah, this is just a piece of the board, not the mounting pin. Okay, so we're just gonna have to try and install this without that mounting pin and see how it goes. We've got a lot of solder down here we need to clean off, and then I think my goal is going to be to try and fit this connector on here and push it back just a little bit this way so I can connect the pins right on all these traces, and then also hopefully connect one of the mounting pins onto the actual board. I think if I can get these 3 pins soldered down and then also one of the mounting pins, I think that will be enough to keep this connector on here. It's not going to be as good as it came from the factory for sure, but it probably will be good enough that this will work long term. And that could be a problem. This over here doesn't actually have any of this copper pad on it. So basically all we've got are these 3 traces right here to hold this entire connector on here. I definitely don't like that idea, but we just don't really have another good option right now.
Now the seller did mention that he contacted the manufacturer and they said it would be about $145 to fix this. I actually think that's a pretty good deal given the fact that this would not have been something that would be covered under warranty since the seller did damage it. And above and beyond that, even if that price is a little high, I still respect the manufacturer for even being willing to take it in, because a lot of manufacturers refuse to even repair devices that are out of their warranties. Not to name any names, Sony, Apple, Microsoft,
All right, so we've got a good connection here, a good connection there, good one there, not a good one there. That one probably could be a little better as well. So we got to redo those. And then I think we're ready to see how we can secure this a little better to the board. And by the way, this is a regular sized grain of rice. So that tells you how small this connector is. It's the connector is shorter than this grain of rice. The grain of rice is even a little bit fatter than it. Just gives you an idea of how small of a component we're working with here and why, you know, just not just any connector is going to work to replace that with. It's got to be a pretty exact fit. Now I'm just going to get this cleaned off using some isopropyl alcohol, and then we're going to see what we can do to secure this connector so it's not going to, hopefully not pull off the board when we plug in the speakers. So I'm just actually going to come in with essentially what is super glue. I've used this on numerous other things and it usually works pretty well. Now I'm sure there are other things that would work, maybe even work better than this. And people will definitely let us know about it in the comments section. So if you're wondering a better product to use, you can just check in the comments section. So now we just got to let that dry. And then we'll try and plug a connector into it and see if it'll actually hold. And now it's been several days over the Christmas holiday. In fact, my sickness is almost gone, even though my voice sounds a little funny still. The super glue has dried pretty well overall and has created a nice strong connector. You can see it does move a tiny bit when I move it back and forth, but overall it's actually pretty good, other than this spot right here, which we knew was sort of weak, but that shouldn't cause enough of a problem to cause it to not work. So next, we need to get this thing installed back into the device and plug in the speakers and see if they're going to work. There is one thing I'm a little worried about, and that is that this pin is right up against this plastic piece. I don't think that's going to matter too much because the kind of connector we need to plug in here looks like this. So you can see these little guys just slide over those connectors, and that's what makes the connection. So I think this connector will just slide right over it and not be a problem at all. Actually, this one right here, but they're all the same. So I think that'll slide right over it and not be a problem, but that is something I need to pay attention to. Okay, ribbon cable number 1. Now this one, and this thing's definitely going to work after we apply the perfect amount of thermal paste. Okay, and now it's time to see if all that work on the repair was worth it and if it worked. At least the first time. We can try and plug this in, but we also have to turn it on to make sure it works. Okay, the plug goes in. Now let's get the battery reconnected. You have a power button light over there on the board, so I'm assuming that's mostly a good thing. And here we go with the back cover. Okay, and we got the last screw in. Now all the screws in the back cover are in. Let's turn it over. Now we can turn it on, see if it turns on, and see if it makes noise. Come on. Nothing. Let's plug it into a charger. Oh, wait. We got something on the screen here. Let's plug it in real quick. Okay, I don't hear any noises so far. Oh, there we go. We got some sound on that one. So after all that, we were able to fix this broken Steam Deck. If you like this type of video, you'll probably like the video where I bought the first broken Steam Deck I could possibly find. I'll leave a link for that right on your screen so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I could fix that one. Don't forget to try out BW100 Electronics Cleaner. I'll leave a link for that right in the description that'll take you right there. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.